Hey everyone, I'm going to recap adverb phrases. There's a few things we need to clarify, so I'm going to jump right in. Adverb phrase. Remember that an adverb phrase, it is a subcategory or subgroup of prepositional phrases. That's the cool stuff in English that shows the relationships in a sentence. So the information isn't necessary, but it's helpful. Okay, but the point is, phrases can be removed from the sentence, and the sentence still makes sense. The pattern of a prepositional phrase is that you always have to have a preposition starting it and an object of the preposition finishing it. Okay? No matter if you have the subcategory adjective phrase, which modifies a noun or pronoun, or you have the subcategory adverb phrase, the prepositional phrase that modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. And it doesn't matter if it's an adverb or an adverb phrase. Remember, they're both acting as one thing that's modifying a verb or an adjective or another adverb. At this point, if you haven't already, I would make sure that I have my grammar notebook and I'm taking notes and really rewriting this to help learn it. Okay? All right. The other thing is an adverb phrase is going to act just like an adverb. So it's going to answer the questions that a adverb answers. So it's going to answer the how, the relationship, showing the relationship of how or when or where or to what extent or degree. And remember, it may also answer why. Okay? So we've recapped prepositional phrases. They're the juicy stuff of the sentence, but they're not necessary. Okay? Now, where it gets confusing, when you sentence diagramming really helps clarify what the phrases are modifying. Okay? And it can be tricky sometimes to identify, is the prepositional phrase an adverb phrase or an adjective phrase? What is it acting like? First and foremost, when you get a sentence, the first thing you're going to do is look for that preposition and object of the preposition pattern. Remember, those are the non-essential parts of the sentence. So you want to identify them quickly so you can make sure you find your subject and your verb. And you're going to put parentheses around it. Next, always go to the core of the sentence, the verb, and ask how, when, where, why, to what extent or degree, and see if your prepositional phrase answers those questions. And then as a check, if you think it's an adverb phrase, remember, try to move it around in the sentence. If you can move it around in the sentence and the sentence still makes sense, it's an adverb phrase, not an adjective phrase. All right, so let's look at our example and see if we can find and determine our prepositional phrases and whether they're in the group adjective phrase or adverb phrase. The dog jumped over the fence in pursuit of the cat. Well, first we know that that's a statement, so it's a declarative sentence. So it's not an inverted sentence. We, in terms of an interrogative or an imperative, an interrogative sentence type asks a question, and it's usually inverted to ask that question. So we'd have to rearrange the sentence to truly analyze it. If it's an imperative, a lot of times it's the unstated subject. So the subject is unstated, and we would have to put that in parentheses. We don't have any of that to deal with in this sentence because we know it's just a declarative. Okay, the next thing we're going to, before we analyze this sentence, we're going to find the prepositional phrases, if there are any. We know over is a prep, and to make sure it's being used as a preposition, we ask the question what? Over what? Fence. So we know that that is our prepositional phrase. We have the prep and we have the OP, and of course we have the article, okay, which is modifying our object. All right, we see the word in. Is it a prepositional phrase? And again, this is tricky. We want to make sure that we look and see if this indeed is followed by an object of the preposition. Okay? So, is it a noun? In what? In this sense, it is acting as a noun where you can pursue things is an action. This is the thing it's doing. Okay, so it's the thing. So you have in pursuit, and then you have also of. We know of can be used as a preposition, but we need to make sure that an object's behind it. Of what? Of the cat. So we have another one. So we have 3 prepositional phrases in this sentence, and we want to make sure now to categorize whether they belong with the verb or with the nouns. Okay? All right. So let's just now start analyzing our core sentence, which leaves us with the dog jumped. What jumped? Dog. Subject noun. What is being said about the dog? Dog jumped. Verb. We have no other objects after it, so it is intransitive. It's not transferring the act of jumping onto an object. Okay? We also know that the is modifying dog and is an article adjective. Okay. So we've now analyzed our sentence. What we need to find out now is we need to treat each of our prepositional phrases as one word, if you will. And we need to ask either the adjective questions or the adverb questions. So, since we're focusing on adverbs this week, let's start with the verb jumped. And we ask what questions? How, when, where, why, and to what extent. Okay? How did the dog jump? No. Where did the dog jump? He jumped over the fence. So it tells us where. So this is an adverb phrase modifying jumped. Okay. Why did he jump? He was in pursuit. Okay? And what was he in pursuit of? How was he in pursuit? No. Where was he in pursuit? No. Let's go back and look. Why was he in pursuit? He was in pursuit of the cat. That tells us why he was in pursuit. and it's modifying this phrase. Okay? Phew. All right. So in our activity, we just needed to notice which of the prepositional phrases was an adverb versus an adjective phrase. And this is number 6 in your activity for the week. And the thing we need to note is that the two adverb phrases that we need to be concerned with is over the fence and in pursuit, because that's what's modifying the verb. All right? From the roof, we can see beyond the mountains. All right? We see quickly that from is a prep and roof is an object of the preposition. And we also know that it's starting the sentence. So we can quickly check to see if this is an adverb phrase by moving it around to see if it makes sense. So we're going to move it towards the end. We can see beyond the mountains from the roof. Still makes sense. So we know that it's going to be modifying our verb. Okay? Beyond the mountains is also a prepositional phrase. Okay? This is number 10. So we have two phrases and we need to see if it modifies our our subject noun, or if it modifies our verb. So let's go to the core of our sentence that we have left and analyze it. Who can see? We can. Subject, pronoun. What is being said about we? We see. Verb, can, is helping the verb see. Okay? Where can we see? From the roof. So it's modifying the verb, so it is an adverb phrase. Where can we see? We can see beyond the mountains. So it too is modifying our verb see. So both of them are adverb phrases. All right. The next part was to analyze and diagram sentences, and of course there's going to be adverb phrases in there. Anytime you're going to diagram, you must first analyze or you could make a big mistake. So the first thing we're going to do is find those prepositional phrases. We know with can be a preposition, so we're going to ask with what? It would help if I read the sentence first. A toddler with his mother's purse wandered out the door and into the yard. Okay. With what? With a purse, object of the preposition. Okay. Whose purse? Mother's. Possessive, pronoun, adjective. Whose mother? His mother. Possessive, pronoun, adjective. Wandered, okay, out. Out we know can be used as a preposition, so we're going to mark that and check. Out what? The door, object of the preposition. Notice there's a conjunction and. So we know we may have another prepositional phrase because they're telling us two places that they wandered. So we need to ask, is into a preposition? It sure can be. Into what? Yard. Is yard a thing? Yes, it is. Or a place? Yes, it is. So it's our object. Okay? The is, of course, the article. All right, so we are left with our core. A toddler wandered. Who wandered? Toddler. Subject noun. What is being said about toddler? Toddler wandered. Verb. And it's not transferring anything onto an object. So it's in an intransitive verb. And a is an article adjective giving us a indefinite article. A toddler, not the toddler, but a toddler. Adjective. And we know that and is our conjunction. So now we're ready to diagram. And the thing I want you to notice is always start with a pattern of finding your core first, putting your subject and your verb first. So when we diagram, we have a sentence, so that's our main line. A sentence always is split into two parts, so we're going to split our line into two parts. On the left is always our subject noun, which in this case we know is toddler, and our verb, which is wandered. We have no direct objects, so we're good to go with the main line. So now we just need to look at our modifiers, our adjectives and adverbs. And in this sentence, we have phrases acting as adjectives and adverbs. So we need to go back and figure out what these prepositional phrases are. So we're going to go to the subject and we're going to ask our adjective questions. What kind of toddler? Doesn't answer that. Which toddler? The toddler with his mother's purse. So we know this is modifying our subject. So it's an adjective phrase. Okay, now let's go to our verb. Wondered how? No. Wondered where? Out the door. Okay, so it's modifying wondered, telling us where. And another one that's telling us where is into the yard. So it's also modifying our verb. Okay, so, and we have, don't forget, our article adjective A. So we're going to come over here. Anything that modifies our subject goes underneath. We know we have the article A. We know we have an adjective phrase. And so that we draw our little L. We put our preposition here with, our object here, purse. And what things are modifying the purse? We have two. We have two possessives. Mother, and then his is modifying mother. Okay? Not his purse. It's not modifying purse. It's modifying mother. So we need to make sure we put that right. Mother's is modifying the purse. It's telling whose purse it is. His is telling us whose mother. So his is modifying mother. Okay? Now notice we have a conjunction. So we have two adverb phrases that are going under the verb. So when we have that, we have two adverb phrases under the verb, and they're being connected by the conjunction and. All right? And then we simply put our prepositional phrases. Out, preposition. Door, object of the preposition. The. And our other phrase, into, was our prep. Yard was our object. And the was modifying it. Okay? One more we struggled with a little bit. It's a little tricky. Let's quickly go through it. In early spring, many tulips bloom in the park on the campus. Okay, we're starting with a possible preposition in. Remember, subjects will never be in an adverb phrase. Okay? So, let's see if this is an object of if there's a prepositional phrase here. In what? Spring. Spring is a thing, so it is an object, so we do have a phrase. Okay? And What kind of spring? Early spring is modifying adjective. All right. We also notice in is usually a preposition, so we're going to check in what? Park. Park is a place, so it is a noun, so we do have an object of the preposition. Okay. And on, a lot of times, is just a preposition, so let's check by asking on what? Campus. Campus is a place, so it is an object of the preposition, so we do have a phrase. So we have 3 phrases, and we're left with the core. Let's look at the core of our sentence. Now we're ready to start analyzing, finding our subject and verb. Many tulips bloom. What blooms? Tulips. Subject noun. What's being said about tulips? Tulips bloom. Bloom what? Nothing tells us that. We have no words following it, so the action's not being transferred, so it's intransitive. How many tulips? Many tulips. So that is an adjective. All right? So now we need to go and ask of the subject our adjective questions to see if this phrase answers any of those. What kind of tulips? In early spring? No. Which tulips in early spring? No. How many tulips in early spring? No. So now let's go to the verb and ask our adverb questions. How do they bloom? No. When do they bloom? They bloom in early spring. So it's modifying bloom, so it's an adverb. Let's double check. Can we move it around in the sentence and it makes sense? Many tulips bloom in the park on the campus in early spring. Yep, still makes sense. So yes, it's an adverb phrase. Bloom where? In the park. Bloom in the park where? On campus. Okay? And actually, we are ready then to go. Remember that an adverb phrase can also modify another adverb or adverb phrase. So in this case, on the campus is going to be modifying this prepositional phrase, and we need to show that on the diagram. Okay? Right now, though, we just need to know we have a core sentence. A sentence has 2 parts, the subject part and the predicate part, and we need to go there first. Okay? Let me go ahead and erase that so I can fill it in for you. Subject noun is tulips. Verb is bloom. Okay, and to save time, I'm just going to show you that when you modify this, go ahead and put many. When you put your modifiers under bloom, you know you have 2 that modify the verb. The first one is in the front, and it's the in spring. Okay, and then early is modifying spring. All right, but the next one you have that's modifying the verb is in the park. But you also have this adverb phrase that's modifying this other adverb phrase, so you're going to connect it underneath and put it there on campus and the. Okay? See how a diagram helps you to understand the connections, the relationships in the sentence. All right, so some hints. Subjects will never, never, never be in a prepositional phrase. Never. Adverbs modify not just your verbs, but as we saw, can modify other adverbs or adverb phrases and can also modify an adjective. Okay? And a biggest hint is check to see if you think it's an adverb phrase. If it can be moved around in the sentence and still make sense, then it's an adverb phrase. An adjective phrase can't do that. All right, that's what I wanted to make sure we had cleared up. I hope that helps, and I will see you guys later. Bye.